time. I'd observe that, perhaps the point I raised would fit into the arguments on the other side of the aisle, which would be, we do have these millions of acres of land. We do have 6,700 existing permits, which have operating plans, which are accessible. That's part of the operating plan. They do have a plan on how to access each of those 6,700 leased permitted parcels, and encourage the industry if the gentleman wants to talk about quickly increasing production on federal lands. That would be the quickest way to do it. Would be to have the industry take those things which they've already permitted, they already have operating plans for, and go out and develop those resources. And in response to the fact that we are not elevating this above other uses, the entire section of this bill, is about the Secretary developing these plans, an objective for the development of energy resources, and it lists, the estimates, and then it goes on to say, Secretary shall also take all necessary actions to achieve these production objectives unless the President determines that's not in the national security and economic interests of the nation. Now, there's no mention of other uses on these lands, and so it does, in fact, elevate. Another point I think is worth making, we do have a booming export market of gasoline. So we're talking here about, wow, gas prices are really high, particularly on the West Coast. I mean, they went up 50 cents in 2 weeks back there during the usual price gouging May run-up in prices. And at the same time, we were exporting gasoline from the West Coast, and there was an ostensible shortage because several refineries had just happened to close down simultaneously or, at the same time for cleaning. But last year, we did export 154 million plus some small change barrels of gasoline. We are operating in a world market. No matter how much production we encourage, or no matter how much is achieved, the price is not going to drop. And again, the one real way, that we could get at the issue of, immediate relief would be for members on the other side of the aisle to join me in my request to Chairman Issa that he investigate this kind of odd pattern where all the refineries just happen to close at all the same time every year for cleaning, et cetera, in May. And yet last year we found out from press reports who went and got all of the air pollution records, those refineries actually weren't closed. We actually were exporting gasoline. At the same time, we were told there was a critical shortage on the West Coast, and they ran the price up phenomenally because we are an isolated market. But we were exporting gasoline, supposedly had a shortage. So no matter what your production numbers are here, we are operating in a world market. And as long as we allow speculators to drive the price in the world market, we can't help our consumers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back to the gentleman. Thank you.
Gentleman, yield back.
Yes.